Howdy, my name's Yusuf. I am a attorney and a avid and passionate fan of the medium of video games, and I guess a collector in the sense that I just buy a bunch of video games and keep them, whatever I enjoy or whatever I desire to play, though I never have time to play them. And this is just a video of me describing what I've collected since I sort of moved into my new place and in the past few months started working in a new job. So I've been picking up some stuff that I've been meaning to, been picking up some stuff that I really enjoy and I'm looking forward to playing when I get a chance, and a couple grails, I guess you could say, that I've been waiting a long time for. Nothing like super rare, like, you know, a 3DO game or like some obscure Virtual Boy. I guess Virtual Boy games are not obscure because there's like 10 of them. So if you know the Virtual Boy, you know all 10 games. But some of my favorites. Excuse me. Anyways, so I wanted to start with a couple PS2 games I got in a lot off Facebook Marketplace. Or no, excuse me, I actually got them from a Facebook group, Retro Collectors, I believe is the name. Something along those lines. And just, they were in great condition. A couple PS2 games I've been meaning to pick up. When I was like 17, 18, I sold most of my PS2 collection, maybe all of it, to take a girl to homecoming. And I remember distinctly going into GameStop. I sold other games too, like GameCube games. I remember Luigi's Mansion, Okami, which is one of my favorite games ever, and Persona 4 were in a lot, and many, many others that I don't remember. And I just remember the two dudes at GameStop, like, they were 20-somethings, you know, young guys. They were like, "These are good games." And I was like, "Yeah." Like, "You want to sell these?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they gave me like $120, if even that. So since then, and falling out of being interested in gaming for a while, which is a story for another time, I've been trying to rebuild my collection. I think this is the common story among all people interested in video game collecting. But I think a lot of like Gen Xer, like bearded white guys, I'm not sure the balance between their interest in video games as an art form versus their interest in it as a nostalgia, sort of like clinging onto their childhood. If you ask my father, I'm clinging onto my childhood. Shout out to you, Dad. I love you. But I'm pretty grown up and, you know, a serious person, as the capitalists want you to believe. So this is more, I guess my interest in the medium is more an appreciation of what it can do, which it often doesn't. But anyways, that's a little background. But PS2, one of my first systems, the first one I remember convincing my parents to buy, we were at Fry's Electronics, big in Texas. You might not have heard of it, but it's sort of like Best Buy back in the day. And got a PS2 because I had a DVD player. It's like, okay, well, at least we can watch DVDs. We never did. I just played Kingdom Hearts. So in this lot, I got... Wow, the lighting in here is awful. I'm going to hold the games up over here. Castlevania, Curse of Darkness. I have the first game on PS2. I've not played it. The 3D Castlevanias, I've heard, did not make good transitions. Or I should say Castlevania did not make a good transition to 3D. Sort of like... That was my chair. Sort of like Sonic, which was bad in 2D and continues to be even worse somehow in 3D. So Castlevania has always been exquisite in 2D. But I've yet to play a 3D Castlevania game. So looking forward to trying this and the first PS2 game, which I'm forgetting the name of, but it has a beautiful, beautiful cover art, sort of painted in a Renaissance form. But I forget the name of the artist of most of the Castlevania like box arts, but man, he went off with that one. So there's Castlevania. Onimusha 3 Demon Siege. I love that Jean Reno is in it for some reason. I have no clue, but I can't wait to find out. And I've never played the Onimusha series, but anything by Capcom, I think Capcom might be my favorite game developer outside of Nintendo and Sony. But Capcom just... I'm there. It's a Capcom game. They really don't miss. Next is We Love Katamari. I love Katamari Damacy. Have never played We Love Katamari. but I'm probably just going to pick up the Switch re-release that's coming out in like a month and play it there. So it's nice to have. I generally try not to collect, or I used to try not to collect duplicates, like an original version and then like a remake that is fundamentally the same but better. Like the We Heart Katamari reroll is going to be the exact same thing but up-resed and better. It sort of makes this version obsolete, but I'm sort of moving off of that position. Then we have Kingdom Hearts 2, one of my favorite games as a kid. I think most millennial Gen Zers would say, yeah, this was my shit. Kingdom Hearts, I really have not played it in recent years. I have the collection on PS4 of just like every single Kingdom Hearts game. It has a convoluted plot. I think the gameplay can be occasionally shallow. And did I mention that the plot doesn't make any sense? I don't typically play video games for their stories. I mean, video games can have great stories, but I'm more into analyzing the game design, the sort of experiential story that you make for yourself. So Kingdom Hearts 2 I do remember loving. And that opening with Roxas, the gaming Brit I believe is his name, has a fantastic video on sort of the emotions and the storytelling and the way it plays into the gameplay, and the nature of the sequel of Kingdom Hearts 2 to Kingdom Hearts 1. And it's like your long summer is over. I remember just loving that, and he shined such a great sort of analytical light on that. So, great game. I will revisit at some point, but not anytime soon. And I will never play the 2.3s and the blah blah blahs and the DS remix and all those side stories. No, 1, 2, 3. I've not played. I really don't even desire to play 3. 1 and 2, that's just pure nostalgia. I'm sure if I revisited it, I'd like them well enough, but the rest of that nonsense, I only have so much time on this earth left, you know, like, I think I could die happy never playing a Kingdom Hearts side game or spin-off. Speaking of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, I did love the Game Boy Advance version of this game, and is the only boxed Game Boy Advance game I ever bought when I was super into Kingdom Hearts. This is the PS2 sort of remake in the Kingdom Hearts 1, I believe, engine, or the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 engine. And I'm not sure how that translates. You're taking a portable card-based battle game and putting it in 3D, in a 3D space. I distinctly remember never being able to get past a certain part in Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance and trying for like a year. Because back then I didn't get that many games, so I was like, I might as well. I could never do it. I could never do it. I think I picked it up years later, and I finally got past that part. My deck just wasn't strong enough, and my skills were weak. Young Yusuf, I wish I could go back and tell you to just give it up and buy a different game. But you persevered. Respect. I wouldn't have that in me anymore. And a game I already own 2 copies of on both PlayStation 4 and Switch, but I did want the original because the PlayStation 4 and Switch versions of this game are the international versions. So they're the best. The PlayStation 4 and Switch versions, they basically replaced the original. They're the international versions. But some people prefer the original. Now, whether that's nostalgia or like they have a legitimate basis for preferring the systems in the original, I have no clue. Because I haven't played it. And that's going to be a running theme here. I don't play video games. I just buy them, put them on a shelf, and pray to God one day I'll have a moment of free time. It's not going to happen, folks. That game is Final Fantasy XII. Here we've got the Collector's Edition. Pretty common for a Collector's Edition. I mean, I guess you could just pre-order this and it wasn't any more expensive. I have no clue. But it comes in a nice tin case, or a steelbook, I guess. This is like the most common thing in the world now. Steelbooks are like, why would you want to have a steelbook? I don't know anymore, but I guess back then it was like, oh, a steelbook. This Final Fantasy game is a big event. I think it still is a big event. I'm very excited for Final Fantasy 16. I do really like Final Fantasy. I just haven't played this one. And there hasn't been a good Final Fantasy in like 13 years. When did 13 come out? I remember buying 13 day one. It was junk. It was garbage. I hated it. I'm sure people would say now, let's reevaluate it. It's been some years. It really wasn't so bad. No, it's just not that good. And that's fine. Not everything has to be reevaluated. Not everything has to be like, actually, no, it just wasn't good. It continues to really not be that good. But Final Fantasy XII was always pretty good and well received, and I think has only grown in stature as a sort of a cult classic, as cult as Final Fantasy, one of the most popular video game series can be. But, really good condition. I really enjoyed that double disc, you know, probably a making of or some CGI trailers. But yeah, it's slick, and it's like it actually fits on your shelf amongst your games instead of looking horrible like other steelbooks. Yeah, if you buy any game now, like at Best Buy, it's like, get the steelbook. Why? For what? Anyways, those are my PS2 pickups in a lot. I'm gonna get into some PS4 games. Finally picked up a copy, no matter it was quite expensive, but a copy of Gravity Rush on PS4. This is originally a PSP game, ported to PS4. This is available for like $10 probably digitally, and I think it was available pretty cheap in the physical version too. But and then it was obviously out of print, a low print run, and they found a bunch of copies in a GameStop warehouse, and just GameStop was like, we'll sell them for like $60. Didn't pick one up then, I should have, and then it was like $70 when I picked it up, or 60 something, high 60s when I picked it up on eBay. I was like, I really should. One day, these will be incredibly rare. Right now, they're just mildly rare as far as PS4 games go. I'm hard-pressed to find a really rare and also good PS4 game. Like, there's that PS4 game that's like about poop. Literally, it's called like the Poop something. And then there's like the PS4 Godzilla game that was taken down from the store because of licensing issues. Neither of those are good. I don't collect games just because they're rare. I collect games because they're probably good, or they are good and fun to play. I don't have any interest or find any novelty in collecting something that stinks. And it's just like, well, there's only 10 of these. It sucks shit, so I don't. Okay, there's 10 things that suck shit. Congrats. That's just me. So we got Gravity Rush there. Here's something I've been meaning to pick up for a really long time, and I'm super glad I did because this is going up in price. And I was happy to find a good condition copy that also is a UK release rather than like an Asia region release. The Journey, I guess I'm forgetting the name of the developer. That Game Company collection. Flower, one of the first games I got when I got my PS3. Journey, which is just like an exquisite emotional experience. I remember, I haven't personally played it, but I've watched my friend and his dad play it, and just a great game. And Flow, I believe. Yeah, Flow, which I haven't played, but it's like you're an amoeba. That's pretty cool. Does anybody remember Spore? My friend Ben and I joke about Spore. That was like supposed to be the biggest, most incredible event of all time, and then just dropped like a bomb that doesn't detonate. It was incredible. I remember. And there's this great image of like the 2008 presidential campaign, Obama, Joe Biden, McCain, and Sarah Palin being made in Spore. So they're like, you know, they're made out of like balloons or whatever. It's a very funny image. Another game I have super fond memories of, despite it not being very good, L.A. Noire, this PS4 remake. I just recently learned that this game was made basically by slave labor of Australians. That's sad, but a lot of games are pretty much made with slave labor. A lot of the things that you love are made with slave labor, so I don't know what to say to that in this video that won't get me, you know, taken down or cause an issue in my life. But the point is, the same the same friend and his father would play this all the time, and I played it myself. I beat it myself. We were playing it at sort of the same time. We would talk about it, and I would go over to his house. Still one of my best friends, still my best friend probably. Go over to his house, and he'd just be playing L.A. Noire on PS3, and just ramming his car into a wall. And he loved it, and he knew that it annoyed me, so he loved doing it even more. So he would just sit there for like 30 minutes while he rammed whatever 1950s, you know, Ford, whatever, into a wall. And he'd just laugh. And I'd laugh for the first 5 minutes, and I'd be like, come on, man, let's go finish a mission. One of the most pointless open worlds ever, but this was when open worlds weren't common. I'm hard-pressed to think of anything you can do in it. You can't just like go into a building, and even if you can, there's nothing to interact with. It doesn't really make sense. It would have been much better and made much more sense as a linear game. Probably cost them a lot less money, but supposedly a faithful recreation of 1950s LA. So respect, but there's really no point. Still, a lot of really good elements of this game. And you gotta love, I'm forgetting the actor's name, so I apologize to him, but you gotta love Ken Cosgrove as the main character. My favorite Mad Men character, and also he's fantastic in this. It's good to be famous for, like, only really John Hamm and Elizabeth Olsen got to do anything else after Mad Men. I feel like the rest of them sort of was like, oh, you're in Mad Men. And John Hamm almost didn't. It was like this year that he broke out of, like, I'm Don Draper. Regardless, moving on to PlayStation 5. Trek to Yomi, Deluxe Edition. I've heard this game is sort of tedious and not really that good, a little bit dreary. Zero Punctuation put it on his most mediocre games of 2022. But I feel like anything Devolver Digital publishes is worth checking out, or at least interesting. So I'll try it. It's not more. I mean, it looks fine. I really can't tell much from the gameplay footage. It looks cool, looks fine. I liked Ghost of Tsushima well enough. It was just a little bit elevated above that rote open world, boringness that Ubisoft. It's like 2 points better than a Ubisoft game. So instead of a 6, it's an 8 or an 8.5. Love Devolver Digital. Sorry to all the cinephiles out there, which I guess I would consider myself one, but basically Devolver is sort of like A24. Whatever they put out probably passes a basic bar of quality and interesting. And this is more interesting than the AAA garbage that is just getting put out on a monthly basis, so I'll check it out. Unless that movie is Hot Summer Nights, which A24 just sweeps under the rug. I mean, I think they put out some garbage, but they just sweep it under the rug. My first Yakuza game, Yakuza Like a Dragon. I've never really been interested in Yakuza, but I think I might like this one because it has turn-based battles, which I think is a nice sort of turn of what they want to do, or what is normally done in the Yakuza series. I find that quite interesting. Apparently it's not that engaging, but it's fun because the shit that they do in the turn-based battles is so wild, and there's insane facial expressions, and people are pulling out like a toy shark and hitting somebody over the head, or like a baseball bat, and it's like super fun cartoon violence. It's like Tom and Jerry on steroids. So I'm interested in that. I'd love to see that. I mean, it's still sealed. I got it for free on PlayStation Plus. If I ever get around to it, I'll probably just play it on there. But yeah, my first Yakuza game. I would like to really see what all the fuss is about in Yakuza. It's sort of like a life simulator, but you're a cold-blooded killer, but you can just go play pachinko and hang out with in love hotels. Awesome. I'm into that. I'll check that out. Next game. Alan Wake Remastered. Remedy, if that's the developer. Yeah, Remedy, I played some of Control. I wasn't into it. It wasn't really for me. I got it, when the PS5 first came out and I got one. I think Control was one of the first free games on PlayStation Plus that I got. And I was just like, okay, the story isn't really presented well. I'm already bored of the combat, because it's just you have two things. You shoot and you manipulate objects. And the manipulating objects is not extremely... It's not like Tears of the Kingdom. It's just I'm picking up a thing and I'm throwing it. I'm sure there's more to it. But as this video has made clear, I don't play video games. I don't. I taste them and I immediately turn away. Do I even like video games? I have no clue. Alan Wake Remastered. I do think this is a very interesting concept. You are a Stephen King-esque writer who gets pulled into this horror sort of situation, and you have to fend for your life, but it's not like a shooting gallery. You have a flashlight and your wits about you, and it's there's combat, but you're mostly, I think, left to your devices to figure out how to escape the enemy rather than take them head on. And you're solving a mystery. You're a writer, and somehow your books are involved. I'm not entirely sure, but from what I've heard, super interesting. Originally, I think an Xbox 360 and PC exclusive, but the remastered version. I think games like this should get a remaster. This is like a AA game, and a really interesting premise, and I'm excited to play it. I think I really will play this one. Now, a remake of one of my 5 favorite games of all time. Have not played this. I'm currently playing through Resident Evil 2 Remake, which I'm really enjoying. I've not played the original. And Resident Evil 4 Remake, was it necessary? No. Is any remake necessary? Some. Do I want to play it? Do I want to have an excuse to play one of my favorite, if not my favorite game of all time, remade with fancy graphics and, you know, like updated controls? Yeah. Do I think it probably loses something. Like, the point of Resident Evil 4 was that you can't move and shoot. That creates tension. That's the point. In this one you can. I remember playing the demo and I was like, wow, the enemies are much tougher, but I just forgot that you can move and shoot now. So I was just standing there and the enemies are more aggressive. I'm very excited to play this, and I will be playing this soon. And I'll let you know my thoughts, I guess. Now, my favorite game of all time, it's up there. It's in the top 5. I don't know where it lands. It's not fair to ask a man to rank, to choose his favorite child. That doesn't make sense. That's not fair. It changes every day. But I've been wanting this for a very long time. I have a regular copy, but I wanted the special edition because, and this is nonsense and a problem with the gaming industry. So this game, the downloadable content was exclusive to the special edition. And the special edition downloadable content is available in every region except the United States, which makes no fucking sense. Excuse my language, I've cursed enough in this video. It makes absolutely no sense. And there's a pre-order bonus, which I don't have, obviously, because I didn't pre-order it, because I didn't have a PlayStation 4 back then. That is completely inaccessible to people in the US, because nobody has the code anymore. The special edition, I almost didn't open it, because I was like, what if the DLC doesn't work? I posted on Reddit and on other threads, and I was like, does anybody have a special edition you can check when the DLC expires? They're like, the DLC's expired, but I promise you can use it still because the DLC is available in other regions. So I picked up a special edition sealed. You have to get it sealed because it's DLC and it's a one-time use code. Picked up a sealed special edition, and thankfully the DLC worked, because if it didn't and I opened a sealed expensive game, I mean, I would have been pissed. But probably my favorite game ever, Shadow of the Colossus. Got the special edition, recently opened it. DLC works. It's a very nice, lovingly, crafted special edition. I'm excited to play this again. I've beaten this like, I don't even know how many times, but I vividly remember being in Target, getting the original, begging my mom, greatest hits version. She probably got it for like 20 bucks. What a magical experience. This is, like everybody says, proof that video games are art. But if you're watching this and you don't believe video games are art, you're 23 minutes in, man. What's wrong with you? This is one of the best games ever. If I had to have a gun to my head, that's a weird way to say that. If I had a gun to my head, I would choose this or Breath of the Wild. Or Chrono Trigger. Or Metal Gear Solid 3. Or Resident Evil 4. That's my top 5. Anyways, the DLC worked. It really was stupid to spend this much money for like 3 pieces of DLC I probably won't use. But just make your games complete. Make all content accessible. Re-release your games. Put everything on the disc so we don't have to rely on the internet and servers that might go down, servers that might be shut down because of costs. Oh, I had to pay $10 on overhead to keep up a server. The executives are like, cut it. That's stupid. That doesn't make sense. That's not a preservation of your art form. I've said enough. Moving on. This was sick. This was a sick pickup and cost me way too much money. I will be paying for this for a while. But I recently picked up something I've always wanted. A system I've always wanted. Complete in box, exquisite condition. I won't take it out of the box. Exquisite condition Dreamcast. Look at this. And when I tell you that the gentleman who sold this, whose auction I won, took beautiful care of it, it's an understatement. Also got a VMU for it. also got an extra controller. Both complete in box, both in excellent condition. This also came with a number of VMUs, I believe 4, 2 white, 2 blue, and a controller inside, of course, and all the cables. Now, am I able to play it? No, because I don't own a CRT, and on top of that, I refuse to do like one of those HDMI converters, and I also don't know enough about like OSSC and RetroTink or like Strawberry Pi. I have no clue about any of these things. I'd love to learn. I have a real job. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't have time for that. But I would like to get a really good professional video monitor or BBM as well, but I think the prices on that are unfair, and I don't really have the room for it. So this Dreamcast, I will hope to come along a CRT to play it on at some point. But it not only came with the Dreamcast, but a bunch of great, really perfect, mint condition games. I'm talking the web browser, the Dreamcast web browser, shout out. That's probably not usable unless you mod your Dreamcast. That isn't usable unless you mod your Dreamcast. NBA 2K2, shout out to Allen Iverson. Everybody's talking about AI, I'm talking about AI. The only AI we acknowledge. Choo Choo Rocket, really clever, cute puzzle game I have played before. I believe there was a Game Boy Advance version. And it had online multiplayer in like 1999, 2000. That's absurd. We're not done. Daytona USA. Apparently this is rare. And I believe that the Digital Foundry people, particularly John Linneman, is a big fan. That man's got great taste. I mean, that guy knows video games. That guy knows what's up. So, looking forward to playing that whenever I'm able. We're not done. Crazy Taxi 2. I love Crazy Taxi. I love it in the arcades. And the wonderful thing about the Dreamcast is that Sega has this deep bench of fantastic arcade-forward games, arcade design games. And they're arcade perfect, basically, if not better, because of extra content and it's all available and you're not playing with coins or whatever, on the Dreamcast. And then they did a bunch of like really bad ports to the GameCube and Xbox and PS2, all those 6th-gen systems. So, this is fantastic. Now, I should get Crazy Taxi 1 and play that first, but I do love Crazy Taxi. Super fun. Of course, it came with Shenmue. Mint. I'm talking about this has all the inserts. This has the Shenmue passport in it. That's absurd. Come on, man. Shout out to this guy, like for real. Exquisite condition, we got Shenmue. Probably not going to play that, let's be honest. Remember when Shenmue 3 came out and people were like, ooh, maybe Shenmue was always bad. I know this was cutting edge. I know this was cutting edge in every single way. Open world, graphics, level of interaction, the way the NPCs sort of moved around and had their own clocks. I know that this was cutting edge. But now, is it any good? I'm not sure. I'll check it out, I guess. And last but not least, really what I most wanted, and I would have bought it for that price just for this. Jet Grind Radio. I believe it's Jet Set Radio in Japan, I just learned. Much better name, but Jet Grind Radio. Also minty. Super excited to play this. I have played it before, really enjoy it. This is just one of the greats, right? So I'll have to give it a full playthrough. So if people are watching this and be like, man, this guy does not play his games. I play games, these are all new, so I haven't played them yet, obviously. I'm still playing like Resident Evil 2. So, if you're thinking, this guy is a moron, he's buying a bunch of games for consoles he doesn't even have. Just wait. I've got more. I also don't own any Xbox consoles. I hope to one day purchase an Xbox Series X because of the fantastic emulation. But Xbox is not really my jam. I'm not into first-person shooters, I'm not into Forza, and then beyond that, what do you really have on there that you can't play on PlayStation or Nintendo? Now, on a Nintendo system, you got Zelda, you got Mario, you name it. You got Metroid, you got Kirby. I don't even really like Kirby. Ugh. On Sony, PlayStations, you got Final Fantasy, you got God of War, you got Shadow of the Colossus or Fumito Ueda games. There you go. On Xbox, there are a couple really great exclusives that I would love to try out. So I thought, why not pick them up before they get super expensive? And Xbox collecting is hella cheap. And the great thing about Xbox collecting is that a lot of third-party games are best on Xbox because the original Xbox was the most powerful console of that generation. The Xbox 360 was much easier to develop for, and a lot of third-party games were just better on Xbox 360 than were on PS3 and PC, even sometimes on PC. And then the Xbox Series X has that fantastic backwards compatibility, which is a little more limited than I thought, but still has a super big list. So, thankfully, 3 games that I picked up are backwards compatible and I've always wanted to play. First is the complete edition of Grand Theft Auto 4. Not really a Grand Theft Auto person, but I would love to try this. I have fond memories of watching people play Grand Theft Auto 4, and fond memories of watching people play San Andreas and GTA 3. It's like a thing where you go to your friend's house, or you go to like a gathering of your parents and their friends, and then all the kids come along. In Farsi we call it a mehmuni. You go to the mehmuni, and all the kids are upstairs like, well, we don't want to hang out with the adults because they're just talking politics and a bunch of stuff we don't care about. So let's throw on a video game, and they've always played Grand Theft Auto. GTA 4, I vividly remember one of my friends playing. Now that I'm old enough, I think I can appreciate Grand Theft Auto, and I'll give it a try. Now, this is the complete edition. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. You got the map, you got the manual. I love that. And of course, all the DLC, the episodes from Liberty City. That's just sick. Panzer Dragoon. Love it. Can't wait to play it. Arcade shoot 'em up. Is this a shmup? Kind of? Somehow we need to get Panzer Dragoon Saga on modern systems, because the price for that as one of the most expensive video games of all time, it just doesn't make sense. Am I saying that correct? The Saga games on the Saturn? Is there 2? Is there 1? Whatever. Get it on modern consoles. Like, just get a government grant to be able to do that. Government of Japan, US government, like, let's put some money towards the preservation of that game, because it doesn't make sense. $1,500 or $2,000 for one game. Just port it. I know it's hard. I'll help. Whatever you need, I'll get the coffee. I'll get the coffee to develop. So let's just port it. And number one most game I'm excited to play for. Ninja Gaiden Black. I know I'm gonna love this. This is sick. I know I'm gonna love this. And it's backwards compatible on Series X, and you can just load it up and play it in 4K at 60 FPS. I love that this is like a complete version. It's like, hey, Ninja Gaiden original on the Xbox was great, but we made it better. Don't even worry about that original one. We made it better. Sick. Alright, this video has gone on super long and I want to wrap it up, but there's more. We got hella Switch games. Got a couple imports. Play Asia, shout out. The best, and I'm mostly a Switch collector. I wouldn't say most, I collect for everything, but I collect the most Switch games because all my favorite indie games are on there physically, the market is there, and then of course all the fantastic Nintendo games and the exclusives that are only on Switch. Got a couple Play Asia imports. Capcom Belt Action Collection, just a bunch of old Capcom beat-em-ups. You've got Captain Commando, you got Knights of the Round, you got Final Fight, Battle Circuit. I mean, really the best part about these is the art and the sprite work. Just exquisite. You don't get that anymore. You don't get that anymore. Not even from Capcom. But this is just fun. It's like when you would go to Chuck E. Cheese and you play one of these, or a Konami beat 'em up, and just like dump your quarters into that. And just like be there with your friends, or just like by yourself and just be playing like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time on arcade. Now, whether these are the console versions or the arcade versions or both, I don't know. But the Capcom has always had fantastic collections, like the fighting collection that they put out that I have on Switch, with like all the Darkstalkers and other like miscellaneous fighting games. This is another great collection that I'm excited to, just try out. Klonoa, another good import. Doesn't run the best on Switch, but I do buy a lot of my third-party games on Switch, or I should say, like, import games on Switch. I think it runs well enough. I really am a stickler for performance. what can you do, man? I don't know. Like, I'm just one guy. I only have so much power and only so much willpower. It is a bummer that the original PlayStation 1 Klonoa is worth like $500 and not been re-released. Now I know this is a remake, Door to Phantom Isle remake, but let's just get the original. Like, is it that hard to just do like an emulated ROM? I have no clue because I'm not a game developer as much as I would like to be, and I know a little bit, but is it that hard? Klonoa 2 though, I heard is really good and accurate, so. More on the imports. River City Girls 1 and 2. This is sort of a fuck you to limited run, wasn't it? And that's good. I don't hate limited run like other people, but I feel like they put out a bunch of junk, and then they put out a bunch of like a couple good games, like really great games that should be getting wider physical releases, and it's like, can we just get like another person to do it and like make it widely available for a long time? Not forever, but like River City Girls 1 was inaccessible, and then it's like, oh, you can get this. Cool. And River City Girls 2 in America, I believe, is exclusive to limited run. No, I'll just get it here. Thanks. And it's both of them for cheaper. Great. Thanks. Appreciate that. I did just buy a bunch of games from limited runs, so it's not like I'm not giving them my money and my business. Another import. Wanted a special edition of this originally, and then I'm like kind of glad I didn't get it because this game is good and fine enough. And I remember playing the demo and really enjoying it, but it's not super special. So it doesn't really warrant a special edition. But it was good. It's good, and I'm excited to explore it more. Scourgebringer. I like this. I enjoyed the demo. I'm going to give it another chance. And probably the one I was most excited for. Yako CNN, or Yako something, on YouTube. He praises this game to high heaven. And from everything I've seen, and I've played the original, I have the original on PC, or maybe this is the original. I'm not sure, because I'm tired and my knowledge is minimal. I am stupid. But, Lethal League Blaze. Cool special edition, Japan only. This is the only physical release, I believe, of the game. And just like the art style is very inspired by Jet Grind Radio. So that's cool. And it's like a really clever fighting game. Like, it's more than a fighting game. It's like a sports fighting game. It's really interesting. And apparently very, very deep. Like, easy to learn, hard to master. Oh, you mean the perfect kind of game? You mean the best game design? I'm in. So those are my PlayAsia imports recently. A couple more Switch games, and then we'll be done. Signalis. The people at Bullet Points, which is a great video game journal, I guess you could say, and a very funny podcast, they're incredible cynics. They hate video games just like me. But they said this is one of the best games of 2022. And it's not even really that special, they said, but like it's more competent than so many other games and like is actually interesting, I guess. So this is sort of a homage to late 90s survival horror like Silent Hill or Resident Evil, but with a sort of sci-fi setting. I've heard a lot of good stuff. I actually am excited to play this. For my girlfriend, I got a copy of Breath of the Wild. So we had a sort of a break between our new jobs, and she played Stray, loved it. Tried to get her into Portal. She didn't really like it. I think the controls were frustrating for her, but Stray is a little better of an intro, and then we were playing It Takes Two together. I was like, you know what, you should just play my favorite game ever. You'll love it. Breath of the Wild. She's making her way through it. She loves this, and I love how much she loves this. Gamer girlfriend, folks, how lucky am I? So, I mean, this is the best game ever, right? Like, sold 30 whatever million copies for a reason. Everybody plays it. Zelda was always popular, but not like this popular. And then this is just like, everybody has played this, and Tears of the Kingdom just came out, and we'll get to that. But I remember picking this up before I went to law school, and I had all the time in the world. So I'm like, cool, I'm accepted in law school, I'm going to go, I'm going to move from Texas to California, and I've just got all this free time. I played this thing for 200 hours in like a month and a half. This is just the most engrossing, one of the best games ever. Say what you want about it with its flaws, like I don't care, all around the best game. Like one of the peaks of this art form. Speaking of, I mentioned a bunch of my favorite games of all time earlier. Well, I left out number 6, but it's interchangeable. Ooh, Metroid Prime. I've beaten Metroid Prime like 2 or 3 times over since I got it originally with my GameCube at Costco. Shout out to my father for starting my addiction. He had no idea. But Shadow Drop, I mean, it had been reported this was coming out by, I forget that name, Jeff Grubb, I believe. I was so excited and I haven't had a chance to play it. That's just the story of my life. But I will, and I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to playing this on the big screen. And Retro is just top-notch developers. Played this a lot on my DS when I was a kid. Not really interested in it anymore. I think these games are sort of boring, sort of shallow. There's a big competitive community who would say otherwise, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get into that. If I got into any sort of competitive gaming, it'd probably be like Smash or like Street Fighter, but not this. Not Pokemon. Guys, let's grow up. I'm a child and I'm saying let's grow up. Like, come on. But I bought it because there's a fantastic buy one get one free sale on GameStop, and they're all new games. So I was like, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the only game that came new but unsealed. But it was in fantastic condition, so that's great. Octopath Traveler 2, which I forgot to pick up, and Bayonetta 3, which I love Bayonetta. So I'll just work my way through those, and then I recently just got a shipment from Fangamer, actually today, which is what inspired me to make this video. Fangamer is my favorite distributor of indie games because they pick really important, really great indie games like Undertale, Hollow Knight, Tunic, Celeste. Tunic and Celeste are coming out. Can't wait to get those. And then they just continue to offer them. They do print runs. They're always available. Imagine that. You can just continue to buy a video game. It's not a limited run. You publish less games. You print less games, but you print the games that most people want. Like, we need a physical copy of Fez. Fez has never had a physical re-release. Strange. Or a physical release at all, excuse me. Anyways, Fangamer released a couple more classics, and, you know, even some games that, like Slime Rancher, I'm not entirely sure of the sort of reputation of that game. I know a lot of people like it, but they released a version. I didn't pick that up. I might. Ooblets. Super cute. Not like a cult classic or anything, but I saw a trailer for it and I was like, I'll pick that up. Super cute. Excited to play that. Now, 2 bona fide indie classics. Baba Is You and Into the Breach. I mean, these are just fantastic games. I'm particularly interested in playing Baba Is You. I remember tweeting at the developer and being like, hey, are we ever going to get a physical release of Baba Is You? And he was like, yeah, never say never. And then like a month later, it was announced, and I was like, you knew that. You knew it was coming. So that was like a year and a half ago, a year ago. Love this game. Now, if you're Middle Eastern, you probably call your dad Baba, which is very funny. So Baba Is You. Your dad is you? I don't know, but this is a Swedish game, I believe, or some Nordic country. So yeah, made by RV Teikari, Hempuli Oi, porting by MP2 Games. So that sounds Nordic, but you never know with these Swedes. And in the Fangamer shipment, here are all like postcards. Super cute. Hollow Knight. Played Hollow Knight for 60 hours and beat it, and I just walked away being like, I liked it, but like I had so many reservations, and I got bored and lost and all that stuff. And I love Metroid, obviously, so I have no problem with Metroid. We're at the end of the video. Holy shit, 45 minutes of me blabbing on about a bunch of games I bought. Who gives a shit? I do, and that's why I'm making it. And I hope you enjoyed your time here. I'll make another one when I use a bunch of other games. There's some stuff in here that I forgot to even mention, and I didn't even just pick up off the shelf. Most of my game collection is back in Texas. This is just stuff I've been getting since I moved to San Francisco, or moved back to San Francisco, I should say. In that GameStop deal, there was also some amiibos. I got the Skyward Sword Zelda amiibo and the Metroid Dread amiibos. Metroid Dread was made. Let's be honest, Metroid is like my favorite series, but Metroid Dread is too much action, not enough exploration, way too like linear. Game Maker's Toolkit, excuse me, has a great video on that. So, the piece de résistance, as my Frenchman would say. I mean, everybody's been waiting for this, but I've personally been waiting for this since like the day the original, or the first game I should say, came out. You probably know what it is. I haven't gotten much of a chance to play it because I've been busy, but what I have played is exquisite and super interesting and super just like, wow, this is why we play video games. You know what it is. Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, this is a sequel to probably my favorite game ever, a triumph of the art form. Another game in a series which we don't get many games from, but is probably the best gaming series of all time. And this is super exciting. Now, I did something stupid, but very in line with my collector's sensibilities. I ordered the collector's edition, which I had stock alerts for, and I got one on Amazon. I was like, great, fantastic, like I got a copy, cool. And then, even up to the day before the game came out, it said it was delivering it to me on Tuesday, and the game came out on Friday. I was like, I'm not waiting. I need that whole weekend to just play that. And the day before, I was like, I'm not waiting. I'll just keep the collector's edition sealed and buy a regular version. So I did. I bought it at Best Buy. And then I wake up the next morning on release day, and it's like, you'll get it today. You'll get the collector's edition today. And updated. I was like, okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, I spent more money, but now I can play this and keep the collector's version sealed. In a couple of years, it'll be worth like a couple $1,000s. I'm not going to sell it. It's just going to sit there on my shelf sealed. I'm a stupid person. I have a sickness. But it is what it is. We have to recognize our own faults, and that's mine. And on top of that, today I picked up the Pro Controller. I've been meaning to get a second Switch controller. The Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons and also the Pro Controller, I have to say, are probably the worst controllers of all time from a mainline, Sony, PlayStation, Microsoft, Sega, whoever else. This is up there, right, as like one of the worst controllers ever. Dog shit D-pad, horrible analog sticks, mediocre triggers, okay like hand feel or like fitting in your hand. It's like a copy of an Xbox controller but worse. It's better than all the third-party options. And the Joy-Cons are probably the worst Nintendo controller. They are the worst Nintendo controller of all time and also some of the worst controllers of all time. That being said, this is your best bet, and of course it's a Zelda item, so I'm an idiot. And finally, the special edition which I did get and which will never be opened. This is a behemoth. This is a beaut. Yeah, you got Ganon on the back. This is a beaut. It's bigger than my head, and I got a big ass head. So, yeah, a lot of like cool stuff, I guess, like an art book and stuff. I don't get the point of, I mean, art books are nice, but like, you look at an art book and the game is spoiled for you. I did not watch any videos, did not watch any trailers for this, because I'm like, why put myself in front of marketing for something I'm going to buy? I don't need to be convinced. I don't need to be hyped. There's no way you could get me more excited for this. There's no way you need me to convince me to buy this. My money is down day one. So I just didn't watch anything. I didn't see anything. I know very little going in. I've, of course, learned a couple things. Like, I won't even ruin it for you. Go enjoy. Go play. Go buy a Switch. I mean, this is pure ideology. This is beautiful. So, that was way too long. Just me blabbering about the games I've gotten in the past few months. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And I hope to do this again. I'm not even sure if I'll upload this, but if I do, it'll be watched by 10 people. Hopefully nobody in my life watches this. And if they do, they'll probably clip it and make a meme out of me, or like an inside joke meme that will be shared among my friends. Which is fine. I have thick skin. But I hope none of my coworkers or family see this. Then again, I also don't really care. So, I really like video games. Excited to play some of these, and I got some work to do. So, till next time, thanks for watching.